Okay, so let's get started by looking at the scenario that we'll use throughout the module. Okay, we have our network that's comprised of some desktop PCs, a switch and a router, a wireless access point, some laptops, some wireless devices, rather, wireless laptops, and then, of course, some desktops and so forth, connected via a firewall to the outside external network. All right, so in the first part here, we're going to cover rule-based management, firewall rules, implicit deny, secure router configuration, and ACLs, which is, as we talked about, how we secure the flow of network traffic. All right, so let's think about that. What does that mean? We want to secure the flow of network traffic. We want to basically be able to control what happens, what ports, what protocols, and so forth flow on the network, internal and then also to the outside world. So one way we're going to do that is by rule-based or by role-based access control, okay, RBAC. RBAC is a popular method that enables access to a resource, and it's based on a predefined policy set by an administrator. Okay, so what does that exactly mean? Well, what it means is that in our network example that we have here, we can dictate and basically set up some policies and say, okay, whoever is the user at desktop PC, let's call that user CJ. CJ wants to go to the outside world. He wants to basically visit a website. Well, we can very granularly say, yes, you can visit a website, but no, you can't use FTP traffic, file transfer protocol. Or yes, you can go to Amazon.com, but you can't go to a peer-to-peer website, as an example, and download something via peer-to-peer client. All right, so we have the ability to dictate very granularly what type of traffic can flow over that network. All right, and how do we do that? Well, we do it with an access control list. All right, so as we can see in the graphic here, very similar to if you go, let's say for instance you want to go to a club one night and you have two of your besties are with you, right? You have two of your best friends. Let's say we have CJ, Jack, and Emily. We'll call those our three that are approaching the door. Well, just like when you walk up to a club and you have the bodyguard or the bouncer at the front door. All right, the bouncer has his clipboard. He has his access control list, right? He has a list that's going to say, yes, you can come in, no, you can't. And CJ walks up to the bouncer and says, hey, am I on the list? My name is CJ. He looks at the list and says, yep, you're in. You're on the list. Come on in. Similarly, Jack says, hey, my name is Jack. I'm on the list. He checks the list and says, yes, you're in. Come on in. Emily does the same thing. All right, the next person, Bob, walks up and says, hi, my name is Bob. The bouncer looks at the list and says, hey, you're not on the list, buddy. Get out. And he basically does not allow access, right? Drops it, right? So it's very similar to a network. So an access control list is designed to explicitly permit certain IP addresses or IP address ranges or protocols, and then it is implicitly denying the rest. Implicitly meaning if it's not on the list, it doesn't get in, or it doesn't go through, or doesn't pass through the network device. So a common real-world example to this is we would have, let's say, for instance, we want to permit certain protocols on our network. Some common ones are listed here. HTTP, which is port 80. Okay, as we know, that's web traffic, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. We may also want to allow Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure, or HTTPS. That's over port 443. So when you go to Amazon.com to make your purchases, or your bank to do your financial transactions, or anything that needs a secure website, it's going over HTTPS, which is actually comprised of two additional protocols under the scenes. We have SSL and TLS, Secure Sockets Layer and Transaction Layer Security. All right, and then below that we have SSH, which is Secure Shell, again an encrypted communication over port 22, and then RDP, or Remote Desktop Protocol, over port 3389. Okay, the bottom three there, HTTPS, SSH, and RDP, are all encrypted. HTTP, however, is not. It's sent in clear text. Now, we obviously don't want to block web traffic, so that's one of the things we do allow typically on a network. But we may implicitly deny the rest of the traffic. Let's say, for instance, again, FTP or Telnet. FTP is File Transfer Protocol, and that goes over port 21. And Telnet allows you to basically run commands on a remote server, very insecure, over port 23. Now, all of these ports that you see listed here are the default ports for these communication protocols. They can be changed. Typically, they're not, but these are just the defaults that are listed. All right. Now, when I say insecure, sent in the clear, what that means is with FTP traffic, if let's say Jack is on the network All right, let's just bring up an example here. And we have Jack on PC 3. He wants to go out and hit FTP traffic, right? Because Jack's always doing something he's not supposed to be, right? So he's the problem child in the group. So you basically deny FTP traffic. So that way he can't get out to the outside world, can't upload documents from the corporate network to some outside location. Similarly, Emily on PC 2, CJ on PC 1, you could allow HTTPS, SSH, RDP, so on and so forth. And so those communication protocols coming from those two PCs would be allowed to traverse the network, go through the firewall, and out to the outside world. So you really have the ability via that access control list to say user A can do A, B, C, D, E, but not F, and so on and so forth. So you allow certain things, and then you deny others. And basically, something I want you to keep in mind is the implicit deny. Now, you can actually put an explicit deny on that list as well. All right, we can create an access control list and say explicitly deny FTP traffic or deny telnet traffic. All right, so why would you want to do that? Well, depending upon the logging software that you're using and the monitoring software that you're using, you may actually want to see hits on specific types of traffic. All right, so if it's implicitly denied, in other words, you don't have it actually in the list, then it won't show as a hit, so it won't register in your monitoring software. Okay, we'll cover that a little bit later down the road. But just keep that in mind. You can explicitly deny things as well if you want to actually gauge and keep track of how many times those attempts were made. All right, so an access control list example. Again, we have our internal network, external network. Let's say our internal network is 10.0.0.0/24. All right, so that means 255.255.255.0 on our subnet mask. So as you can see, here's an access control list example. We would basically call out the access list, and we're just naming it 150 in this example. You can basically name your access control lists anything that you like. So access list 150. The action that we're going to take is to permit TCP coming from network 10.0.0.0 with that /24, okay, the 255.255.255.0. Destination is anywhere that equals port 80. So in this first line of that access control list, we're saying any traffic that's originating on our internal network is allowed to go out to any destination as long as it's over port 80. Similarly, we have access control list 150 permit TCP as the second line, all right, in our access control list, and it says basically the same thing. All right, coming from internal network 10.0.0.0, allow any traffic that equals 443. And as we know from the previous example, 443 is HTTPS, or Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. All right, so we're basically allowing web traffic, HTTP, and HTTP Secure in these two lines. So in our previous example, again, if Jack were to go out and try to now do FTP traffic, which is over port 21, that traffic would hit the ASA device. It would look at it and say, all right, does this FTP traffic, does it match the first line? Nope, no it doesn't. Well, does it match the second line? Nope, no it doesn't. There's no more lines here, so the implicit nature of that would then be to deny that traffic.